Today was the last day to download the PT playable teaser for PS4 on PSN. While the PT says that the world and controls in it were not the same as what was planned for Silent Hills, it was designed to give an idea of the sort of thing to expect. Kojima was quoted as saying the game should make you shit your pants. Norman Reedus, who was supposed to do the motion capture and voice acting for the main character, was quoted as saying that they hadn't filmed the heavy stuff yet. This, along with Konami's statement calling Silent Hills embryonic, not even a fetus yet, suggests that the game was still only in the very early stages of development. Konami stated that they are still discussing future Silent Hill projects, and they hadn't said anything specifically about whether or not Del Toro or Kojima might be involved. The only things that seem certain right now are that there will be no Norman Reedus, and two, if they do make a new project with some of the same people, it will be different from the planned Silent Hills game. PT itself was an interesting experiment in that it was listed with a fictitious studio name and made no mention of Silent Hill or anyone involved in it until you beat the game. Kojima stated that he thought it would take at least a week for fans to figure out what was going on with the game, but it actually only took a matter of hours for the news to go viral. I was always a bit unsure of having Kojima aboard because of his cutscenes, among other things, and I wrote a post about this well before he was officially on the project. He said the game should make the players shit their pants. Well, that's fine and good, but I don't understand the idea that some fans have, that the adjectives good and scary mean the same thing. Silent Hill 2 really wasn't scary at all, I didn't think, and yet it remains a fan favorite. Silent Hill 1 had its scarier moments, like the alternative Midwich Elementary School, yet it seems many people avoid playing it because of the blocky graphics and the story and the voice acting. I think it's good for a Silent Hill game to have scary moments, but I don't consider that the defining factor when it comes to whether or not a game is good. It bothered me that what little we knew about the game involved only scariness and no mention of actual gameplay or story, which I think is far more important for a game. But no, Kojima talked about wanting to make it so scary people might not even keep playing through it, and he said he didn't care if they didn't play through it. This seems a pretty weird decision. I'd imagine most game developers would want you to play through and enjoy the entire game. But I guess once they paid for it, whether or not they like it is irrelevant because they already made their money on it. What I did like about PT were the graphics and the puzzles. The way it was promoted, or rather not directly promoted, was interesting and certainly seemed to have worked out for them. Several sites said it was one of the best horror games that came out last year. I think the hallway with its subtle changes also worked well. I even think the first-person view helped the game, although I'd hate having a whole game in the first person. I also thought it worked in Silent Hill 4, the way it was in first person in Henry's apartment, but then third person everywhere else. It makes the weirder things like the ghosts scarier because it's more in your face. The same goes for Silent Hill 4 with the ghosts and the hauntings in Henry's apartment. It has been suggested that if you add PT to your download list on PSN using the website, you should be able to download it in the future even if you don't have a PS4 right now. Some people have said you also need to be a Plus member to do this, but I'm not sure, because I'm a Plus member and I have a PS4, so I'm not able to try this out myself. While other games and demos that were removed from PSN listings have remained available for download, it really all hinges on whether or not the game actually remains on the PSN servers or not. If it's deleted, you won't be able to download it no matter what. It is disappointing that the project is not going to happen as promised, but at this point we can only wait and see what happens. Though it may be the result of company turmoil of some sort, I think the lack of information given to the fans was a rather poor business decision. If this were any other game, we'd have at least seen actual screenshots by now, and magazine interviews and articles. Keeping those things in the public eye keeps people interested, and yet, for Silent Hills, we basically got nothing of the sort. The only publicity depended on the hype created by the names of the people involved with it. And while it did seem those people would be capable of making an interesting Silent Hill game, and I did like PT, it seems problematic that we knew nothing about this game, which was allegedly supposed to come out next year. If they do end up making a new game in the future, I hope they will use a different strategy to keep people interested. I liked PT, but I don't think it had a great deal of replay value. It's only one hallway, and once you figure out all the puzzles, it's not a challenge anymore. And once you know the things that are going to happen, It's also not scary anymore. And above all, if you didn't have a PS4, you didn't even get a chance to play it. Which also seems like a questionable marketing decision. It does make an impact, though. It is memorable, and I'm glad I got a chance to play through it while it was still available. In the future, I suppose it will just be an oddity, and people will probably romanticize Silent Hills since it didn't actually happen.